Welcome everybody to the 2015 Collaboratory. My name is Kristian Reid. I'm the Director of Multimedia Services for the Learning Technologies Group of Drexel Online. We're going to talk with Cory Schmitt, the Assistant Vice President of Learning Technologies. He's going to tell us a little bit about what this Collaboratory entails. How you doing, Cory?
Good.
So what do we got?
Well, I want to welcome everybody to 2015 Collaboratory, which is a celebration of technology-enhanced learning. And to promote the use of technology in online coursework, hybrid coursework, and face-to-face coursework. So we have a number of stations set up here, ranging from mobile apps to pedagogy and online instruction, as well as, accessibility issues and learning objectives, anything you can think of. We're just trying to showcase the best of the best at Drexel and collaborate and talk about ideas and promote more high-quality online technology-enhanced learning.
And one of the reasons we have something like this is, we've talked about in the past, is it's kind of like a barrier for sometimes faculty. They don't see all the technology, they don't know what's available or what's there, or what can be used. And can you talk a little bit about the idea of like kind of invigorating them to break those barriers down?
I mean, we've often found that when we promote the great things that faculty are doing, working with instructional designers and instructional technologists, that it kind of snowballs and other faculty want to get in on it, or they're like, oh, hey, I like that idea. I could use that for this lesson, or I could do that for my class here. So oftentimes, that's how we engage the faculty in trying to get them to buy into using technology, using multimedia, and in their instruction. So.
Great. Well, thank you very much, Cory. Enjoy the Collaboratory. Yeah, so what we're going to do for everybody out there is we're going to walk around this beautiful little Collaboratory, and we're going to kind of learn about what everybody's doing and what we're playing around with. So let's go to the first table. Follow me. Hello. Hello, welcome. I'm here with the Virtual Land, and this is Beth Ten Have, and she's talking about collaborating with information tools from the libraries. So,
right. So the libraries don't have any. You want me to hold this? Oh. Okay. The libraries don't have any formal courses, but we're here to support faculty and students in their scholarly work. And so we do that through a number of different ways. So do you want to show the library website? Because it's more exciting than I am.
Sure.
So this is the library's website. And one of the things that we find most useful and that we spend a lot of time on are building these library guides. And so if I go down to nursing here, because that's a huge area for us, we have 2 librarians who support the College of Nursing and Health Professions. And it's not... It's not going in here. There we go. So what's really nice about our library guides is that they give a student the resources they need to get started with a project, but also links out to the subject specialist librarian. And we have a chat service. So if that librarian is in their office and online, then the chat link is alive, and people can just start chatting with them. Larry Milken is our manager of learning partnerships, and he helps organize and manage our chat and reference services. And we've seen our chat reference service business grow exponentially, and it's not just online students. It's students who are sitting in one of our library's buildings and they just don't want to get out of their seat. And so they'll chat with us about anything, like they need a resource, they need to get started. So this has been a great tool for us, along with the associated chat features.
So it's basically like online library support. So instead of having to go to the actual library, all the resources are there.
95% of our $5 million collections budget is spent on electronic resources. And if you need something that's print, we ship it to you. You just pick it out of the catalog, you hit the request this item button, you identify yourself as a distance student, and we put it in the mail to you. And it comes with a label so you can ship it back to us UPS. Done. And we are embedded in course shells. We actually embed the library guides in course shells. We embed them in instructional modules. We see all students the same, so it doesn't really matter where a student is. And I don't know if you've been in our library, but it's really small. So there's not even room there's not even room in there for the students who are on campus. So we know that we are serving a population that is everywhere. because of the size of our buildings and because of the nature of the programs at Drexel.
Do you feel this is like a well-known resource, or do you feel it's like a hidden gem for the students, that there's like an aha moment where they're like, oh wow, I really have this as a resource?
I think it's a hidden gem. It's a hidden gem even for faculty. I think a lot of them, when we first show them, if we meet with them or talk to them, they're really excited, and it's something that they want to link to in their classes.
Well, hopefully with things like the Collaboratory in this video, we'll be able to kind of make it less hidden. Well, thank you very much.
No problem.
Enjoy the Collaboratory. Let's go further.
As soon as someone comes, as soon as my release comes, I'm coming over to listen.
Hello, Sandra.
Hi, how do you do?
Nice to meet you. We're
Nice
at the
to meet you.
Collaboratory here. I'd like to know if you might want to tell us about what you're doing. This is nursing students practice team using ApprenNet.
Yes.
Tell us what ApprenNet is.
ApprenNet is a software program that we use for students to actually have an experience, delve into the experience live, asynchronously in our online courses. We developed a course for the RN to BSN program. It's their final course. It's on healthcare technology, safety, and quality. We show a healthcare video of an emergent situation, and we ask the students to respond to this emergency live. They go into the ApprenNet. They can record themselves live in responding to the situation using evidence-based principles. And so it's a way to have immersive, experiential, on-the-spot learning live. Something like a studio performance of a dancer or an artist who gives an exhibit, or a dancer who dances on stage. Our students can perform live, and they're debriefed afterward in a very positive way. So it's using technology to a very high level and bringing the students up to have very active online learning in an online course.
Now, I think I had seen a demo at the e-conference of the ApprenNet, and it looked like the one thing that was really cool is there was kind of like peer-to-peer review.
Yes, we have peer review in this also. So all the videos that each individual student makes, each video is seen by every student in the class, and they're ranked and peer-reviewed in a supportive, positive way. And then the very best video from all the students is shown at the end.
And I think the one thing the ApprenNet people said is that when it's the peer-to-peer review rather than the faculty reviewing it, there was like some more openness, and like there were much more to critique and kind of see who the best was.
Yes. And we do have rubrics for the students to follow, and we teach how to give constructive feedback that's positive and informative. It's not to hurt your peer in any way. It's learning how to be communicative, responsive, and positive with a peer feedback. So it's wonderful.
And now, is this just something that's Drexel University-wide that's just for the RS nursing, or is it there like a development thing with it, or is it?
No, the College of Medicine uses ApprenNet. Yes? No, not yet.
It's spreading. It's spreading across the university.
It's software that's available that's spreading, yes.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, some of the applications, when I saw some applications for like construction management, sport management, like coaching situations. Because it's the thing I thought was cool about it is it's pretty much like the student can get a response from, like, I guess the one I saw was like a nurse.
Right.
That maybe they were giving medications and the nurse was like, "You're a rookie, you don't know what you're doing." And then the question would be, how would you respond to that nurse?
Right.
And then the students can kind of record themselves, and it's almost like a way to practice. I guess I would also think maybe another application might be some kind of law course where they have to kind of respond.
Do certainly use it in the law school.
Yeah, so I think this is definitely big and it's on its way. So hopefully it'll be university-wide at some point. I guess as it's still right now, it's like you'd have to contact ApprenNet and find out to get it for your course.
Yes, but for this course, you can certainly contact us into the RN to BSN program. This is N380 course, and I'm Sandra Friedman.
Well, thank you very much, Sandra. Have a great Collaboratory.
Yeah, thank you.
Talk to you soon. All right, let's go over here. Do you want to talk next?
Well, first, do you know Carlo Komoto, who invented ApprenNet? He's a professor at the law school, Drexel.
Oh, there you go.
He's the inventor.
I didn't even know that, and I brought it back around. Well, let's go talk with this guy. All right, so this is Christof Daetwyler, and he's talking about, are you Christof?
Yeah, I'm Christof.
And this is WebPatientEncounter, AnnotatePlus, ClassCompanion and
A
ClerkshipCompanion?
little bit too much. I will concentrate on .com and on WebPatientEncounter, and maybe mention also Annotate Video Plus.
Okay, yeah, pick one. So .com was the first one you said, right? That's on Doc, D-O-C, a little play on words here.
Doctor's communication. You have to, here you see, .com is a series of 42. modules for the teaching and learning of healthcare communication skills.
And they're video modules, right?
No, not really.
Oh, okay.
When you look at it, it's all the modules, like giving bad news is an important one. So first, it always starts with a rationale. There are videos part of it,
Okay.
of course. But what's special about it is we did the whole production. Are these annotated videos. We call it annotated videos. It is an invention I did in '98. It's some time ago, and I got the European Academic Software Prize for it. And I'm still using it and enhancing it. And it became at one point Annotate Video Plus. But what you're saying is what we do is we have the real medical expert, and he shows his art of medicine on our standardized patients. We capture that in our studio that we have in the basement of the Hahnemann University Hospital, new college building. And then we add these annotations, and you can click them when there is a special icon, and then you can pick the expert's mind. So we make kind of the special knowledge of the expert available to the learner on demand. And the cool thing about it is, so it works usually, video is a linear medium.
Yes.
So you have content, explanation, and by having the explanation layer parallel to it, but accessible, it works for novices as well as for advanced learners. Those who are advanced only once in a while want to know more, the novices want to know it all.
And then
so,
they can go back and review that all the time, right?
And so there are also, what you see, there are 42 modules, but we did some research and published also in Medical Teacher and Academic Medicine that this together, and this is important, what we do now, and what I think is more special is what we call WebPatientEncounter. WebPatientEncounter just recently got licensed to a company. We got an award from the Science Center, $100,000 to bring it to commercialization.
Congratulations on your award.
Thank you. From the QED award from the Science Center here in Philadelphia. And so we really found a company, DecisionSim, who wants to use it to train the VA physicians to be better communicators. So I should mention, by training, I'm a physician, graduated more than 20 years ago in Switzerland, but I did all my career in the field of technology-enhanced medical education, but I'm still teaching students in communication skills. So that gives me the closed loop. I see what works, what doesn't work with the students. But this is something we use at Drexel. All our clinical students in the third year, the clerkship year, they are at 25 different clinical sites, and so they have to use this remote system to show what they can do on our standardized patient. And I can show you how that looks. Here is this is just a video that makes a point and explains it. So the learner is somewhere. Here it's me in my office. Standardized patients, usually they work from home, from their homes. They don't come to the university for that.
Okay.
And they connect with the learners using this system. And when they are connected, so they present the case, the task. Here it is about smoking counseling, smoking cessation counseling. And then when they start it, the learner sees the standardized patient full, but the standardized patient sees also the learner plus the scoring list. And here is all the effective communication skills that she could use for communication, for smoking cessation counseling.
And the standardized patient, is that just like an actor that acts as a patient, or?
That is. Many of our standardized patients are not real actors or laymen. Some are actors. We even had once a police officer who just liked it so much that they quit their job at the police and from then on became our standardized patient. Philadelphia is an interesting field for standardized patients. You're at the NBME, National Board of Medical Examiners, where they have to run a lot of these simulations. Then there is Jefferson, Drexel, Penn, and many are like freelancers who work at several universities. It's an interesting job, by the way. And so what's special about it, then when they are done, they can provide feedback. And our system, and this makes it interesting, you would think, the best thing is you do that live with real people in the same room, But here now, in the feedback, they can provide you with feedback, directly recordings from when they scored you. So they can now say, look, at this moment when I started crying, when you gave me the bad news, this is what you did.
Okay.
You just looked at me and started talking, but I needed some time to have this sink into me. But you started just talking about you will heal me or whatever. But I just needed at this moment just 10 seconds to reflect on what you just said. And then there are also vignette videos that they can play back in during the feedback, where they say that we did with the specialist. This is how a real expert would handle this situation. And so here we have a method that provides a really strong feedback. And now we are having, this is done with Flash Media Server, but we now are working, we have a pilot working that is now functional, where we switched from that to a new technology, WebRTC server, and we can open that up, and we'll open it up to 12 participants remotely, and that allows us to do interprofessional training remotely. And this will be a biggie, because it's hugely hard to bring people from different professions together at one time.
Yes.
And we can train all interpersonal skills now remotely in groups up to 12. That is the next thing to come here.
And does all the College of Medicine know about all these? Like, is there anybody, are there pockets in the College of Medicine that don't know about this technology?
Oh, sure. That's like everywhere. We are a big college.
Yes.
But all our students have to go through 6 of these web patient encounters. DocCom itself is being used at more than 30 medical schools. Recently, even Harvard signed up and bought 264 subscriptions for their students.
Oh, that's great.
So after 10 years DocCom, we really are there. And it's Harvard, Yale, Stanford, you name it.
Now, have there been any other applications for non-medical training with any of this?
The web patient encounter, what you look, has an editor interface. All you put in is the case description, the scoring items, and the feedback list. And then you add, maybe if you have vignette videos. You can do that for any skills that requires interpersonal skills. That is like how to deal with the unhappy customer, how to deal with the angry customer.
Now, is this available for other Drexel University staff or faculty?
At Drexel University it is available. And certainly we would allow them to build it. We have, as I said, it was licensed, but not Drexel is us.
Yes.
So we can do at Drexel whatever we want.
Same with the DocCom.
DocCom is available to all of Drexel. They can go to the webpage of DocCom. They just have to Google DocCom, they find it, and then they get in a free subscription when they enter with their Drexel email. All of Drexel Med has free access to it.
Now, .com would be a little bit more, I guess, building centric, because you'd have to produce the videos and create the content that then is interactive, correct? Which is what our department's for. So multimedia services, I'll have to talk to you off camera about your studio.
No, we have studios. So I have also a degree in documentary movie making, and I work with George Sizet, who has a degree in broadcasting and videography. So we have trained personnel. The problem why I do that as a physician, if you ever had to deal with a physician as a director, they don't listen to you. And so I direct these physicians, and I can do that as a physician.
You can speak their language so they understand what you want.
Yeah, yeah, that is really the trick that is needed. It's a little bit sad, but this is part of the truth.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, Christof, thank you very much for all this stuff. This is wonderful.
To the news on the polls, and also the Philadelphia Inquirer run a story on us. This is the second story on us.
Yes, again, I can see like a lot of use for these in other programs. So hopefully some of the viewers might get exposed to it. And again, like I said, I will talk to you off camera. So thanks again, Christof. Let's go over here and talk with Mike Shelmet of the ITG, right? ITG. He's going to tell us about breaking up the text recording video with Kaltura and YouTube. Kaltura is obviously Drexel University's video server. We replaced drag and drop, so I will let you talk on what we do here.
So what we have in integration with Blackboard Learn, we have both Kaltura and YouTube. So faculty can record themselves, kind of like off the cuff, like you're doing with me now, putting me on the spot. I'm not saying what I really want to say, but that's okay because it makes me look human. So you have a course that looks like this, and it's a lot of text, and you're talking about your topics and your learning objectives and all these things, weekly discussions. But what you can do is you can have videos that you record directly from the built-in webcam, or you can, use your smartphone and record yourself, or record what's going on around you, and then you can put that in your course. You can put that into a course announcement, which of course isn't going to load up now because I just clicked it and you're recording me.
Yeah, there you go.
It hasn't had a problem yet today, and then
That's
you do
why
this
computers like to
That's
revolt
okay.
when they can.
So you create your announcements. You embed your video directly in there. Your students come in. They can read your announcement. But then maybe you just want to convey to them, yes, you have to study for the final, but relax. It's going to be okay. You're going to do fine. Maybe everyone had a problem with something, and you're like, hey, everyone's really struggling with this concept. So I'm going to take 2 minutes to go over it with you again, and then ask if you have any questions. There seems to be this misconception that video has to be of a very high quality. You have to wear a suit and tie. You have to practice your lines. You have to stand just right and look in the camera and say your lines. And I don't think that's the case. I don't think that students need that. I think they need to see you. They need to know that you're a human being, that you're a person, that you live and breathe, and you're kind of goofy and you don't have hair. They don't, along with all the text, to get that. And the technological barrier to do that is very low. So just the thought of, hey, I'm teaching a course on people discussing technology. Wow, isn't this a great session? Let me just record and start talking about, hey, this is the Collaboratory. Look at all these people doing this. I then take that video and I put it in my class with a brief description, and then they don't just get to read my words, they get to see what it was like to be here. They get to hear the people and the conversations going on. I just feel like it makes for a more immersive experience without a huge leap for technology.
Yes, and I guess the one thing with video production is the more higher end, like he was talking about, the time to produce it gets more, you need more people involved. But I think the benefit of something like this also is it can be kind of quick, and it can be, like you said, personable. So it also might tailor to something that is time sensitive. Like he was saying, like if a test was bad or something, hey, let me address the students and we can talk about it.
Absolutely. And the idea would be you do this without having to edit. So we wouldn't need like a production crew to do this. I'm shooting this one time, I flub a line, whatever, just put it in there. I get my message across. I'm done.
I often, when we're producing faculty, I tell them to kind of speak to the camera as they would speak to a front of a class. If you make a mistake, you just correct yourself naturally and move on.
Yeah.
So, great. Well, do you feel like there's been any, what did you think is the most daunting part of this for faculty to be able to record using YouTube? Is there any barrier of entry?
I think the biggest barrier of entry is their own hang-up that they can't do it. I'm here to tell them they can't. You can do it. We have the technology. We can make your course stronger. We can make your presence stronger, especially in the online environment.
And in the essence of the Collaboratory, I guess the idea would be to play around and see what happens, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Try it out and see what you like and what you don't like, and then you go from there.
I mean, I could show you right now, here, ready? Let's go into week 1, and let's say, this is my introduction. All right, so we're going to edit the introduction, and we're going to say, I want a video, and it's going to be you and me. So I'm going to hit this button here, record from webcam. This is the YouTube integration. This is going to ask me to sign into my YouTube account, which I already am, so it will just click over.
So you have to have your own YouTube account first?
Right, so if you have a Google account, you have a YouTube account.
Who doesn't have a Google account?
That's what I'm saying. So then you hit record from webcam. Now I'm going to hit start recording. Flash is going to say, are you sure you want to allow this? I'm going to say, sure, why not? We say, okay. We close this. We're recording. Look, that's you and me.
Yeah, it looks like a nice Reservoir Dogs shot.
I was just going to say, this is my worst angle, so you don't want to do this. You want to more get down in there. But we're recording. This is live. So we say, stop recording. Okay, that was a great take. I love that. The students are going to love this. I click continue. It shows up in my video library. I click insert. Okay, we got a width and height. 120. 120 is a little small. Let's do 360. I hit tab so it matches the proportions. I hit insert, makes that lovely yellow box there. I click submit, and then bing, bang, boom, there's a video in the course.
Lovely, that's great.
Who can't do that? Anybody can do that. And if you can't do it, I will help you do that.
Wonderful. Well, Michael, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'll see you around.
I know you will.
All right, let's see who's next. Let's go to Mr. Siftar.
Hello.
Hello. By the way, you're going to be coming around with a camera throughout this event.
Okay.
For the virtual audience. We're doing a virtual Collaboratory.
Wonderful.
So tell us what are you showing about? Hey, there's another camera.
We are collaborating here because we have the Zoom.us platform now at Drexel, which has replaced some other products. For me, as a librarian, it's especially relevant. Most of the students I support are graduate students, many of them online, and we have to make our services as friendly as they would be if they walked into the library. So we have sessions at night, we have people who are needing to really see the screen. I can share my screen on this, and it's just become really helpful and friendly to adopt this platform in the last 6 months.
And what Zoom is it's pretty much like a video conferencing app, right? Like Skype, or I think we've used Adobe Connect in the past.
It's like Skype, except that I can have I can have screen shares. I can have up to 50 people here. I can have 50 people together, and I can break them out into little collaborative rooms. So rooms within my big room, breakout sessions. So I'm still exploring all the different options here, but low threshold for learning. Once you download the plugin, it's there, and it's been a real boon for my work.
I did have a faculty member that when I think Zoom first hit, they were touting how they were commuting into work, and they started the Zoom session at their house. They got in their car. Hopefully they weren't watching a Zoom session. They got on the train, and they got to Drexel, and the Zoom session was going on the whole time, and he couldn't stop touting about it. So it is pretty cool technology.
And I like how it's very mobile friendly. So, right from if you are in your car in the back seat, hopefully not in the driver's seat, you could join from wherever. So it's really helpful.
And it's university-wide now, so to get a Zoom account, you can just come to the library, or?
Well, you have to go through your department. There's a fee for each account holder, but it's a solution that's recognized university-wide, so there's a way to get it if you work.
And then we support it now as well, I guess. There's some IT support for Zoom.
That's I
working on that?
suppose so. I haven't encountered it myself, but it's pretty user-friendly. I don't know how much support you're actually going to need.
Great. Well, thank you, Tim. Appreciate it. I'll see you on Zoom sometime.
All right, Kristian. Thanks.
Mary Jo Grdina. Yes, you look fine. So Mary Jo Grdina is going to show us her Physics at the Art Museum app. I had the pleasure of working on this with her. So what kind of app is this, Mary Jo?
Well, this is an app that's to accompany or to supplement teaching physics at an art museum, which is sort of not the usual place you teach physics, but a lot of the work we do here at Drexel with some of my colleagues is teaching science and physics in settings that are not the typical places. So we chose the art museum, and for several years I was working with Barbara Bassett, who's the curator of education, and Steve Wills, who is in charge of the Wachovia Center at the art museum. And we would give tours. We would go through the museum talking about torque and mobiles and different reflection of light. And but the problem was that one of us had to be there. They had to be there because the art museum doesn't look real fondly on me walking through with laser pointers and meter sticks and all kinds of stuff. So we asked the question, how can we make this concept or this lesson of teaching physics in an art setting more accessible to bigger populations? And so we thought, well, let's make an app. And so I talked to Cory and Kristian and different people in that group, and
the Learning Technologies Group.
And we applied for a grant from Subaru, and we built the first phase of the app, which we can see here. We have little Pablo. He's a combination of Picasso and Einstein. And the first version of the app had 4 what I call modules, and now we have 7. We just added 3 more that just completed. It's going to the Apple Store. But you pick a physics topic. So for example, if we want to learn about frames of reference, whoops, I know this works. Just did it. There we go. So we use the Calder Mobile. The Calder Mobile teaches us several lessons. It teaches us about torque, balancing torque, and about frames of reference. We have other activities where we use the swords and armor gallery to teach center of mass.
And one thing that was done with this app is there was multiple ways to learn. So there was some slides or parts that were interactive where you could kind of identify the spots. You utilized some video in this. There was video elements that helped. So it was kind of like a really multimedia application experience for the students.
Right. So we tried. So what ended up happening is now we have this app. Somebody said, how do we use it? Well, you can take it to the art museum and use it, or a teacher can use it, teaching the students the concepts before they go to the art museum, or you never have to go to the art museum. You can just teach using the app. And so we're in the process now of working with the art museum to publicize this. We've given several science teacher in-service programs where they've learned to use the app, and so now we just need to publicize it more. There's also in development lesson plans that go with each of the 7 modules. So hopefully what this will do is to put arts in into STEM, which is STEAM, which is a lot about what Drexel is doing here in the Excite Center in various places. So anyway, that's what our job is, to teach science in settings that aren't the traditional settings.
Wonderful. And then part of the Collaboratory, the main idea here is that a faculty member had an idea. She came to our staff at the Learning Technologies Group, and we worked with her to create this interactive app item. So that's another resource that's available university-wide, grants.
Because like I developed storyboards, and this is what I would like to do, and they said no, yes, and we worked it out together.
Mostly yes.
Mostly yes, and it was great. Working with Kristian, if you look at the videos, the animations are top-notch.
Well, thank you very much, Mary Jo. Enjoy the rest of the Collaboratory. All right, we'll be back in a minute. We got to assess who we haven't talked to, and then we'll take a break, and then we'll be back to talk to some other people and see what's going on at the Collaboratory. Thank you very much. All right, we are back to the Collaboratory from our virtual commercial, so to speak. So now we're going to start over here and talk with MJ. She's going to tell us about the ACE Adolescent app. Hi, MJ. How you doing?
Hi, I'm doing well.
Are you having fun at the Collaboratory?
I'm having a lot of fun. Can I introduce some of my collaborators?
Yes, you can.
This is Catherine Wolf, one of our undergrads who's involved with research with the undergraduate group. And this is Obinna Otti, who's also on the ACE team, who helps us with a lot of the technology side of it.
So what is this ACE app? Tell me all about it.
This is an adolescent comprehension evaluation. On the surface, it's actually a very simple reading comprehension test. Students read a passage, which Catherine is writing, and then they answer questions. On the surface, it looks like a lot of the testing kids do all the time, but we devised this to be very different on the back end. So on the outside, to a kid's point of view, they're going to grab an iPad or grab a Chromebook once a week, every other week, take their little reading comprehension test. Right now it's 6th to 8th graders, and then they're done for the week. From the teacher point of view, things are very different. Some of the things that we're doing different is we're using novel ways to validate our test questions. Usually it's done statistically. You find out how many kids get the same answers, etc., and those are the questions you keep and you don't keep. We're partnering, this is an interdisciplinary project, with our friends in biomedical engineering, who created something called an FNIR. This is what the FNIR looks like on someone's head. And our students, when we test our questions, read the test questions with the FNIR. It works with light. These are the different nodes on the back.
FNIR, F like...
It's, oh, here we go.
EF, near?
No, the small, like a functional MRI. This is functional near infrared, something, I'm forgetting the last word for it, but it's neuroimaging. But basically what it tells you is this is where your prefrontal cortex and your working memory is. If you answer a question with something you just read, in other words, a text-based question, a good one that Catherine would have written, this will light up. These sensors will pick up the light, and we'll see that on the computer. If you answer a question correctly and you don't light up your prefrontal cortex, that means you're using something you already know, or prior knowledge or background knowledge. That's always been a really hard thing for test writers and for teachers to capture. Where's the line between, did my student just read this and they learned it because of their reading comprehension, or do they know it because of the neighborhood they lived in, or an experience they've had, or another book they've read? And it also kind of compounds differences in students, whether they're rural students, urban students, suburban students, and their life experiences. So often we say tests are biased against kids from different areas. This is a way to begin to, it's a really beginning use of the technology, but to begin to control for some of that test bias by really, if too many kids can answer a question correctly without using their prefrontal cortex, we're going to remove the question because we're consider it not text-based and not valid.
And it gets away from those kids that are kind of like just skating through class. I'm just doing what needs to be done.
Yep.
I don't know if I like that.
When the kid takes the test, they won't need this. This is for the testing and the development phase. When a kid takes it, they're just grabbing an iPad.
Okay.
But here's how I'm going to catch that kid and find out whether or not the student is struggling with their reading comprehension or not engaging. When Catherine writes an article for the students to read, or a story for the students to read, she then writes questions. And what myself and Dr. Severino, who developed this, have done is we've looked over all of the research on adolescent comprehension. And we have found what are the common errors that students make that teachers can therefore work with them to improve their reading comprehension. So over here is what we call our heuristics. So when a student answers the question, here's an inferential question, which means it's one of those questions where you got to figure it out. You know, Mary was crying. She was so sad. She threw away the paper with her boyfriend's phone number. Why is she crying? He just dumped her. Inferential question. So that the right answer would be worth 3 points. The wrong answer, most of the time, is worth 0 points. But here, the wrong answer, if you pick this distractor, a text-based literal fact, will be worth 2 points. We know you read the story. We know you went to the right part of the story. And therefore, that's a higher level of reading comprehension than someone who just guessed. The next level would be worth 1 point. This is when someone understood the story. Their answer makes sense with the question, but the answer wasn't actually in the story. So then we know the kid understands questions, and now the teacher knows, make you reread the story or work on better following the answers. And the last distractor is usually worth 0 points, and that's something that wasn't in the story at all.
Okay.
So then we know if someone took, and we can measure this, if the teacher will know if the kid took 3 seconds to read the story, opened it up and just started hitting buttons, we'll know that over time. And what that comes down to is the teacher dashboard that Obinna is helping us develop. And he's playing with it. I don't know what he's doing right now with my teacher dashboard.
So Obinna, can you tell us a little bit about the teacher dashboard? Over to you.
So yes, sorry. The teacher dashboard basically is the back end of the app. On the app, what we can do is load up all of the modules and all the questions. We can program all the answers and all the users. We can also add them on there. It didn't used to be like that. Everything had to be done through the app and Xcode, and which is pain. If you don't know how to program.
Programming headache.
Thank you. So with the dashboard now, everything is now simple. It's using a language called JSON, and we are using also a platform that I cannot remember the name. But
Tech jargon.
But it's all tied into the app. So everything is done on the dashboard. You launch the app, you refresh. You can add, user can now log in. The modules are there, and it can be used in the classroom.
So all the back end stuff is like the data collection,
That goes to the teacher.
And so then they can log in and see all the data and assess the data.
The reds are wrong and the greens are correct. Okay. As Obinna continues to develop that, the idea is if you click on the red, it's going to tell you what wrong answer the child selected and what sort of wrong comprehension move they made. And so as a teacher, you now can make a small group of kids that all made similar errors. You can find a student, in particular with special education students, they make very small growth in these middle school and high school years in their reading comprehension scores, but they can get better, and it's hard to capture with the binary right-wrong scenario. But when you're able to sort of show they went from totally guessing to at least picking something that related to the question, to at least picking something that was from the story and related to the question, we're able to capture more subtle areas of growth, and that's something that hasn't been done in progress monitoring. So the teacher dashboard, as it continues to develop, will have information about right and wrong, the kinds of errors, information for the teacher about which students in their group made similar errors on similar stories, and over time we'll create basically a data-driven decision-making system for teachers that doesn't require them to dig the data out of everything. Our goal is not to create an app where students practice something and then they take a test, they practice something all in the app. Our goal really is to give teachers information. So the app and the questions is a window into all of this teacher information that then teachers can turn around and use to inform their instruction in more meaningful ways.
That is wonderful. And then just to bring it all back around to like the idea of university resource. So you don't have any technology background, right? So the concept is all you, but you didn't know anything about the technology, and that's where Mr. Otti came into play.
Absolutely.
And Obinna works for Drexel University Online as an IT manager, but I know he was a mobile learning coordinator in another lifetime. So again, the support system of faculty and Drexel staff building.
Without question, this could have never happened if we weren't at Drexel. We would have never known the biomedical engineering department if we weren't all pulled together through some different contexts across the university. We would have never been able to create these things. And for example, we say, well, we really wanted to do this, and then Obinna can say, okay, and then he makes it do that. And that sort of action, making the things in our mind that we know teachers and students need actionable, and having it happen not because we send it out somewhere, but somebody I collaborate with and understand and work with side by side, is a really different dynamic.
Oh, wonderful. Well, thank you, MJ. Thank you, Obinna. Thank you, Catherine. You guys enjoy the rest of the Collaboratory. All right, let's see what's next. I think we're going this way. Are you ready, sir? Sip it up, sip it up.
I told the young lady she had the most important job. She said, I'm glad you finally realized that.
Yes, yes, Cable Wrangler is big. Yes, we are. We're live. We're live.
Oh, come on.
This is Mike Scheuermann. He's going to tell us about Turnitin, more than just plagiarism detection.
Okay, so Turnitin has been around for a long time. I think we've had it at Drexel for about 10 years. And everybody knows, or most people know, that it can detect plagiarism, and they use it for that. And it's got a very robust back end where they've got millions of papers from students all over the world. And it also checks against not only those papers, but the live and archived internet, as well as electronic journals and things like that. So Turnitin is the leader in this field, and we have it at Drexel. It's centrally funded. Professors can use it to examine written work by their students or other types of work. No cost to them, no cost to their department. It's very easy to use inside the Learn LMS. It's just like adding any other tool, and it's very user-friendly, we think, plus we do training for it from time to time, and we'll help people get started using it. So the real message I like to convey, though, is to think about using Turnitin for something beyond the plagiarism detection feature, catching students cheating. I believe that once you introduce a Turnitin assignment into a class and students know that that's where they'll have to submit their work, you will cut out 90% of the possible cheating right there, right?
Yeah.
The simple fact that they know that it's going to be judged against all of these other written works and elements and archives and databases, they're just going to forget about trying.
It's like a motivator for them to know they can't go in there.
Right. And most students at Drexel don't need that redirection. Some maybe need a nudge. Others really do need to understand the serious nature of submitting their own work. Hopefully we're explaining that in syllabi, and we're telling them about that when we introduce them to that concept in the class, right? Face-to-face, hybrid, or online, doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
But the real message I try to convey to people from having used the Turnitin suite now for a long time is it has two other key features besides the plagiarism detection, or what Turnitin calls originality checking. It has a grade mark feature. And what that is electronic markup of the student work by the professor or the TA or whoever's looking at the work. So grade mark enables you to electronically mark up the student's work right in the environment without going anywhere else, very quickly and easily, and it's got really tremendous power. You can click in a student's paper anywhere you want to type a comment. You can click and drag across text that you want to highlight and then offer them a comment about the highlighted area that you just featured. Or, and this is the real powerful part, you can make a comment to a student in a paper and then save that comment and put it in your library of comments and give it a label, and then anywhere else in that paper or anywhere else in any other paper in that course, or, wait for it, any other paper that you get in a Turnitin assignment in a future course, you can invoke that comment by simply clicking on it, dragging it into the student's paper in the proper spot, and dropping it. So the message is you create the rich feedback one time, and then you repurpose it.
Use it wherever you want.
Use it wherever you want. So my example is always passive and active voice. I'm not an English teacher, but I read a lot. I know good writing, and I want to make students aware of improvements that they can make in their writing. Passive and active voice is a sort of a thing I'm a stickler on. So it's hard to explain why to not use passive voice and to try to use active voice in writing in less than a few sentences. You need to write a paragraph, right?
Yeah.
And students frequently use passive voice. You don't want to write that paragraph every time that student, a course colleague, or a student in a future class has that same issue, and you want to give them that nice rich feedback. So you create that paragraph once. You name it passive voice. You give it a label. It's now in your library, and you can give the same rich feedback to the first student in the whole array of papers you're reviewing as you give the 30th or 40th or 100th student paper that you're reading or your TAs are reading. So the quality of the feedback you're giving them is heightened. Your time is saved, really, really minimized, and you don't suffer in a quality aspect at all. You're dragging and dropping wherever you need to put it. So the other thing that GradeMark does is Turnitin provides a library of comments that they've already had created by writing instructors, faculty, probably all over the world.
Can we attach this to our own email somehow? If I had some kind of template of email response, this would be wonderful.
Well, there you go. And a lot of people, have workarounds for this that they've tried to use for years. They'll have a Word document that maybe has certain feedback elements, and they copy and paste and put them in Word. They use track changes, etc. I think this is much more powerful because it's coupled with the originality checking. You're in the same environment. You're in the same paper. You can even use GradeMark on top of, as a layer over, where it's had the originality report. So as you're looking through the originality report markup of the paper, you can be marking up the paper with your comments, right? And there may be some relationship between the two. But so the libraries that they've already got, the comment libraries that come from Turnitin, they're to use at your discretion. There are different categories, punctuation, common usage. I think there's about 8 or 10 categories. So you can use their library of comments the same way. Drag and drop, put them in or not. This paper, next class. So It's customizable by you. You can use what they've got, and you can do a lot of ad hoc with the insert and with the highlight and insert comment. Everything can be your own work, original for every student. However much time whatever amount of time you have to give student feedback. So that's the second leg of the stool. And the metaphor I like to use is Turnitin is a three-legged stool. It's got three components. It's not just about plagiarism detection. You have grade mark, I already explained. The third leg of the stool is peer mark.
There's a stool over here, Ryan. There's the stool.
There's the stool, right. So
peer mark. We're talking about peer mark.
We're talking about peer mark. So this feature came out a couple years ago. I started using it as soon as it was available. And what I try to encourage faculty to consider here is it's another way to judge student performance. So the students know that they're going to read a colleague's paper, right? So you set up your Turnitin assignment for a midterm. Then you go back in and you create a peer mark assignment based on that midterm assignment. And you set up all the criteria for the peer mark just like you did for the original assignment. When it's due, all sorts of things, right? And in the peer mark area, you can have the tool automatically assign papers to the students in the class, so you have no administrative burden there at all, or you can purposefully assign them manually, so maybe you want the best writer to help and coach and review the one who's struggling the most or seems to be struggling the most, or whatever instructors want to do to manually pair up students. And you can think of all the possibilities, right, of why they would want to do that.
And this isn't normal practice in a course normally without this tool?
Well, I'm sure that many professors do peer review, and then they have to manually, of course, give students criteria to use to judge the peers' work that they're.
So it's more of an automated way to do that.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So the tool will do a lot of the work. It won't do the peer review, but it'll do the matching. And the other piece that you can put in is a set of criteria that the students will use when they're reviewing their peers' work, right? So it's not about read Ralph's paper and tell Ralph that he's the greatest writer ever. It's you read Ralph's paper or whoever's paper or Sally's paper, and this is the set of criteria that you need to use to judge the work you just read. Was it the proper length? Was it basically well written? Did it zero in on what the instructor wanted us to zero in on? Was it linked to so-and-so? Is it in MLA or APA format, right? So you've got Likert scale questions you can set up, and then you can also do free text questions. So basically, in my classes, what I've done is I have 7 Likert scale questions that they use to judge the paper that they just read, right? And they have a free text question at the end to give their colleague at least 100 words of feedback overall about the work that they just read. And so a couple things happen. Because the students know that peer mark is going to be there, they know before the class starts that their paper is going to be read by somebody else. And I always show them the criteria in the syllabus, which means the students are going to write better papers for 2 reasons. They know that somebody else besides the professor is going to read this, and peer pressure is going to come into play naturally, and they already see the criteria for the peer mark assignment, so they use that criteria when they craft their own paper. I believe that over time I've seen better student writing because I introduced the peer mark feature in the class. And here's the last point I want to make. The grade that the author receives on his or her paper is not influenced by their peers' peer review. So the students don't have to worry about a student, a colleague that they had a problem with in a prior class, or someone who doesn't like them, or whatever. They don't have to worry about that because the grade on their paper is never affected by what their peer has to say about their work. And I only grade the peer evaluation by how well they did that. So there are points available for the peer mark piece of it. So I judge how well the peer reviewer did, and they get a grade for that piece that's totally separate from the grade that they get as an author for their own paper. So they don't have to worry about colleagues having influence somehow on their grade they get for the paper.
Could the peer be anonymous as well if you wanted to?
Yes, the peer can be anonymous or identified. When you set up the peer mark assignment, that is one of the choices that you get. Some professors don't have every student submit for every assignment. So even if I didn't submit an assignment this time, I could still be peer reviewing one. You can set that up by choice, peer assignment by peer assignment. There's other features in there. We do training for this. We have information available. There's tutorials. It's really a three-legged stool, and people need to understand there's time saving here in the grade
Yeah, it
mark.
seems like definitely a lot more efficient.
And higher quality feedback, I think, paper to paper to paper over time. And so that's a great quality element as well as time saver. And then the peer mark gives you, again, another way to judge student performance, which we're all looking for. We're looking for new ways to get students engaged, to have them become better writers, to be better students, to be successful. And I think that this deserves some consideration and some examination by professors and see if it'll work for them.
So Mike, if someone wanted to use this, how easy, like what do? They just go into Blackboard Learn and it's a tool already in there?
Yes. They can add a peer mark assignment. They can add a Turnitin assignment or a peer mark assignment once the Turnitin assignment is created. Just like any other assignment, like any other tool, it's right in the drop-down with everything else in the course tools area. It's a very simple process. They go to the area in the course where they want to insert that electronic Dropbox, that Turnitin assignment. So if it's week 4, they need to go to week 4 first and then say...
Basically, they're going to create an item, and then it's in the item tab?
It's in the, assignments.
Okay.
It's in the assignments tab. Turnitin assignment is there, just like everything else, right? And then you get to say whether it's a regular assignment, a peer mark assignment, or a revisions assignment, which lets students turn in multiple drafts and then get feedback, and then they do the final, right? So it's in the same tool set as where they would add a regular assignment in the Learn environment. It's very simple.
Great, thank you, Mike. So turn it in. It looks like it's there to play with, so I definitely advise faculty to kind of, in the essence of a collaboratory, go experiment, maybe use it as one assignment and see how it works out for you. Thank you very much, Mike.
Okay,
have a great day.
Thank you.
All right, let's go over here and talk with Jennifer. Hi, Jennifer.
Hi.
How's your collaboratory going?
It's going very well, thank you.
Good. So we're going to talk about assuring learner success via merging best practices of assessment and ID in a course template.
Yes, that's
course
a big
template.
title.
It's course template. Let's call course template. You know, templatize is not a word.
Really?
I've used it. I haven't found it in a dictionary yet, but
There
I
you
wish.
go. Maybe you could.
I'm going to try and turn it
coin
into a
that.
word. Templatize. So, talk to us, Jennifer.
So this is a project that we did with our web designers and Ray Lum at the School of Public Health to create a master template for the school. And what a master template does, it ensures that all of our classes, whether they're in person or online, all have a uniform Blackboard component look, to which they never had before. So this was a very big endeavor in that all of our undergraduate faculty, so my role is at the school is Director of Undergraduate Faculty, or Director of Undergraduate Education, and I'm a faculty in the Department of Community Health and Prevention, so we could require all of our undergraduate classes to apply the template, which was like a very
You have power. That's wonderful.
Yes, well, not really. But anyway, what's so exciting about it, though, is that whether a student is in one of our online classes, in-person classes, if they're in year 1 or year 4, all of their shells will look the same. And they will have all of the same prompts, and they will find all of the same information in the same places, which really makes it much more user-friendly for the student. And it also helps the instructor be more on point and guided in their Blackboard shell. Yeah, so we've done some very neat things. So all of our classes look like this. Whoopsie. And on the left-hand side are standard prompts that every class has. And through that, we have also added a performance outcomes aspect, which we will map our assignments with their outcomes. So what are we assessing with each learning objective, and what are we gaining at through competencies? So that's really the next level of this. Every week the classes look the same, in that we will have an overview and learning objectives. So regardless of what class you're in, you'll have weekly overview, a weekly learning objectives, and your assessment parts for each class. So yeah. That's our master shell.
That's great. So,
and I should have one more thing. I forgot to have one more thing. Another aspect of this is that we are requiring all of our faculty in the master template to use gradebook, which is a very big deal, and that all of the grades are now housed and evaluated within the Blackboard template and not on like an Excel file or Word document. So they're all in one uniform place.
now, is there any a room for growth as far as like, oh, we want to add this one feature to it, but you have to wait? You don't have to wait 4 years for the student to go, or like, how do you go about making changes to your course template?
Sure, we're constantly updating and constantly assessing. So this fall was actually the first time we rolled the template out. So it's very, very new. Some additional components that we're going to have in the next iteration is we're going to have our course mapping. So how does your course map within the larger curriculum of undergraduate education? And then we're going to have our assessments. So how does each learning objective relate back to how we assess it? So those are the next two parts we're going to add.
Well, wonderful. Well, here's the course templates. I'm sure it makes everything easier. And then actually rolling it out the next term, you just go from that master every time, right? So if they update anything, it's all there. So that's great. Yeah. I like the idea. Thanks. Thank you very much.
Nice
Enjoy the rest of your Collaboratory. And next we will go over here to this table. So step across the table. Catherine, hello.
Nice to meet you.
How's your Collaboratory going?
Oh, it's going very well. We have this up on our very, very beginning lesson.
Okay, so she's going to tell us a little bit about the Sentence Weaver, an app that teaches productive language to children with autism.
So children with autism often have difficulty putting words together grammatically, and most of the programs out there for them and most of the teaching out there for them is really about comprehension. So they're listening, and then maybe they do something after they understand what they hear. This program, they actually have to, word by word, construct a sentence. So here, in the very first lesson, we have the question, what is that? And so they have to figure out, okay, first of all, you know, it's a circle. And
yep.
they probably know that, right? But they also have to realize that they need to have an article like when someone asks you, what is that? You don't say circle, you say circle. So if they forget that and they just go circle and then they hit submit button, then they get feedback. And even if they can't really like make sense of this terminology, they see in red that there's a missing word that they might want to pick. So then they might go and pick one of those missing words, comes out in the wrong order, but you hit the submit. This is, we're having, here we go. And so we slide it off, we try another one, and the idea is that, and you can see how you can manipulate the order. The idea is that eventually, with enough feedback, you have a kid who the kid is able to gradually get their answer correct. We have this particular iPad has a cover on it, and the cover is making it difficult for it to sense the touch.
Yes, that's part of the experience of designing is making sure the right app works. I think we were working on an app where the cover inhibited the headphone jack to go in, so then you couldn't experience it that way.
Exactly.
So.
Yeah. And
it's all the testing process.
Yeah, and of course, when you have a lot of kids, a lot of wear and tear, you kind of want to cover, but then it's like if it's interfering with the ability to use the program. Yeah, exactly.
So how did you design this app? Like, did you design it yourself, or did you more the concept, or how did that process work for you?
This was originally a web-based app that I used with my autistic son. So I was motivated to create this thing because my autistic son was having difficulty putting words together. He was having trouble with all aspects of language. And so I created, it's a total of 111 lessons, and I sort of was frantically creating the lessons, and he's catching up. And
you built them yourself on the web app?
Myself on the web app, yeah. But then, once I started at Drexel, I teamed up with people in the digital media and also in the instructional design team, and then I also hired Beth to basically do the hard work of taking the web-based version and porting it into an app and dealing with all sorts of complications like iTunes and things like that.
Yes, the whole hierarchy.
Yeah.
And I guess I've also heard some stuff that autism students or people with autism, they tend to gravitate and react better with a game or something of that nature, and it's kind of like been one of the things you're trying to really tap into that comfortability, I guess, a person with autism has with a game.
Yeah, absolutely. There are a lot of studies suggesting that kids with autism actually prefer computers to face-to-face interaction, and so this is supposed to tap into that very thing, and also give them a kind of a lot of systematic repetition, and so that they kind of like the predictability. There's a certain amount of predictability built into this, and they like that.
Yes. Okay. Well, thank you very much, Catherine.
Thank you.
Enjoy the rest of your collaboratory.
Very much.
Let's see who's next. May we cut in? May the camera people cut in? Hi, Michelle. She's going to talk about taking a healthcare simulation program online.
Yeah. I'm actually going to have Jamie talk about the program.
Hi, Jamie.
I'm Jamie Smith. To start, and then I can talk about the...
Okay.
I'm the academic director of the Masters in Simulation program. So I just want to talk a little bit about our program. It's very unique. It's one of only 3 programs in the country that teach this sort of education. So we take postgraduate learners, physicians, nurses, EMTs, anyone in the healthcare arena that wants to use best practices in healthcare simulation, and we're teaching them in an online manner. So it's an innovative program in itself, and the fact that we deliver it online is really unique as well. So Michelle, do you want to talk a little bit about it?
So within every week inside Blackboard, we're giving them lectures that are kind of interactive. So the content's delivered through there, and then they can, it's very interactive, moving parts and everything. And then, let me see, where we have. So we have like activities for them to do. Give it a second to load.
And did you build these?
Yeah, so these are built using Adobe Captivate. And so I basically work with the content experts and create these exercises for them. So they're supposed to pick out the target needs assessments. And so then they can drag and drop them down in. So they're given these type of lectures every week, and they're interactive.
And is that a Flash-based item, or is that something else?
This is HTML5, so it'll play on their iPhones, on their tablets, anything.
Great.
And then so for the synchronous sessions, we'll do these videos like this that we create on our own. As you can tell, like Jamie and I are actually acting in that one ourselves.
Oh, so you're doing the breather and you're giving the CPR?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, and I have no medical background, so completely
believable.
Completely acting there. So we put those together, and then what we do is we play them for the students and actually have them do a debriefing session afterwards. So the students are watching these. They might have to be one of the characters that are in there, and then and represent them. And so we'll have one of the students actually run a debrief. So they're asking the students how they felt about the session, what did they do right, what did they do wrong during it, and then talk during these live sessions. And then our faculty are able to be on there and provide feedback for them on how they're representing themselves.
So you said it's a master's in simulation?
Science and healthcare simulation.
So they're learning how to properly train other people or create simulations for training?
Education master.
So you're training the trainers?
Exactly right.
Okay.
Exactly right.
Very good. Now, do you see any other programs that, because I guess you did this all in-house, I guess you're an instructional designer?
Yes.
Okay, and then, so do you see like any applications in any of these across the university-wide, like that you think would be good to share, or anything that you've seen in this that?
Absolutely. I mean, this is something we could collaborate with the school or the College of Nursing with as well. So there's talks to kind of collaborate content, maybe to offer a certificate program along with what's being offered in nursing. Certainly we're not at that point yet to offer it, but yeah, there's definitely discussions.
And I think using Adobe Captivate, I mean, I was an online student with Drexel before, and to have something that's HTML5 where you can be on the train and watch your lecture on your iPhone, that was like one of the main things I wanted to do for our students, because when I went on and couldn't watch something and had to go back home and like do it there, it was kind of annoying to me. So
Yes, very frustrating, but very good news that Flash is going away.
Yeah.
So.
Well, we'll see.
And I'll have to talk to you off camera about Captivate, because I've been very curious about learning more about that. So, well, thank you very much, ladies. Enjoy the rest of your collaboratory.
Thank
and I'll
you.
see you soon.
Thank you for coming, because we felt
All right, we're going to go over and talk with Dan Allen. Hello, Dan.
Hello, Kristian.
How are you doing, sir?
I am, and yourself?
Are you enjoying your collaboratory?
Absolutely.
Okay, so Dan's going to tell us a little bit about the low-hanging fruit of online accessibility. We'll say Dan's pretty much the Learning Technologies Group's accessibility guru. That's a real professional term, but...
Okay, so our theme tonight is low-hanging fruit of accessibility. Real quick, accessibility in the narrow sense refers to, in this case, students with disabilities. But we would quickly add that the best practices that we use to help students have access content with disabilities are also, those best practices will also make content more usable for all students. Tonight we have a number of what we call cheat sheets, which are tools that you can take and hang on the wall of your office or your cubicle that will show you how to make content accessible. For example, Word documents, PowerPoint documents, PDF documents. One of the myths that we're always working to dispel, those of us who advocate for accessibility, is that accessibility is technical, hard to achieve, something best left to IT or for the Office of Disability Resources. And what we are always struggling to do is to get the idea across that no, most of what we need to do to make content accessible is stuff that all of us can achieve. So we're hoping that these sheets will sort of send that message. If everything that you can do to make a Word document accessible is in one sheet, then it really can't be all that difficult, and in fact it is not.
Very good, and hopefully in the future accessibility will be commonplace like anything else and everything will be accessible, right?
Well, it'll always be, we'll never be 100% there because technology is always changing, but I can say, for somebody who's been advocating for accessibility for over 15 years, the last few years have been encouraging because there is more awareness and more folks are trying to make their content accessible.
Great, well thank you, Dan. Enjoy the rest of your Collaboratory.
Sure I will.
And we shall be right back. I think we've got everybody, but there might be a couple more people. Marlon? All right. She's coming back, so we'll be back in a minute. Back at the Collaboratory, we have one more person to talk with. Linda Marion is going to tell us a little bit about peer consultation for course design. Hello, Linda. How you doing?
Hi.
I'm Kristian. Nice to meet you.
Hi, Kristian. Nice to see you. Thanks for stopping by. I am one of a number of faculty fellows who are available for faculty, instructional designers, or anyone else who would like consultation about their courses, whether they're online or face-to-face, although we specialize in the online environment. And it's all voluntary, it's confidential. We are faculty members ourselves, representatives from different colleges. We have the Inspire website, which is available at the Drexel/Inspire. We have a number of options available for faculty members who would like a peer consultation. And this, which is also on the website, describes the different options. We have also 2 specialized instruments that are available that you can ask faculty to work with you, some of the faculty fellows, the Drexel University Core Design Elements Checklist, and Quality Matters, both of which have a number of recommended best practices for faculty.
Great, so it's basically a big support group for anybody that's making courses.
What a great way to put it. It is absolutely available. It's here, we are here, and we're happy to talk with anyone who would like to talk with us.
How long have you been around?
We've been around for 3 years. We were originally chartered by the Provost's office and by the Online Learning Council, and now we work directly with Drexel University Online.
Oh, wonderful. And I guess, what percentage of people do you think people use your resource a lot, or do you feel there's ways to get it out there more?
Well, the reason that we are here, my colleague Marlon Killen is here in the background, is that we always feel that there are more people. There are people that are teaching assistants who are going out in the job market, can learn how to teach their courses better, how to design a course. We've been involved with something like 15% of all the faculty in the university in some level. Sometimes with a course design, we also will go to a college department and conduct workshops and things like that. So there's a lot of different options.
And it doesn't necessarily have to be someone that actually designed a course and then wants some kind of review on it. It could be someone that's really trying to learn about what it takes to make a course.
Absolutely.
Just to kind of like learn about it. That's really neat. I think it's a good resource.
Thank you so much.
Well, thank you, Linda.
And hope that anybody listening to this will stop by and contact us.
Yes, peer consultation. Well, that is all we have from the Collaboratory. It's my turn to walk around and kind of talk shop with these people and enjoy everybody and check the technology. So I hope you guys enjoyed it, and we will see you next time at the next Collaboratory. My name's Kristian Reid, and I will see you later. Bye.